Hello one and all, and welcome to another RWBY discussion. I'm your only mate, and with me as always is...
Max Future, it's how you all doing out there? We've got a real hamdinger of an episode here, like, one with a lot of implications and things to theorize about. It's honestly a lot to unpack. It's slightly intimidating, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
but,
kind of.
we're
gonna... For multiple reasons, it's like, I think the most nervous I've been to like even just start the recording of one of these.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. Like, man, I've got some nervous Nellies in my tum-tum here. We got a lot to get through, but
yeah.
I guess I just have to ask right out from the get-go. Anything to declare before we start peeling back the proverbial layers of this?
Nothing I can think of that would make sense.
Alright then, we're just gonna have to jump straight into the whole thing.
Yeah, and
our episode...
Start with...
Well, actually, hang on, before the episode even begins proper, it is important to make note of the fact that the intro did change a little teensy bit. Rusted Knight's helmet is off, and Jaune is just up at... Old Man Jaune is straight up there now. So,
yeah,
that's a neat little touch. I like when intros evolve.
Yeah, and it also started with, like, a... light sensitivity warning.
Yeah, I think I know what that is. I don't have light sensitivity like a lot of people could, so I'm not 100% sure if that would have really been enough, but yeah. I know what it is.
I'm just glad it wasn't the same warning at the end of Volume 8.
That was the single most ominous warning they could have ever put in front of an episode ever.
Yeah, like, I was nervous as hell for this episode with like all the build-up that it was getting from RWBY. When I saw the warning, I was like, "Oh god, no!"
Like oh. In what dimension of reality is the warning? Potential epilepsy warning is the best case scenario. That was like, oh. And again, I guess when you set things up that, you know, in the last one it was like freaking suicide prevention line, like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Anywho. Yeah. With all that taken care of, the episode begins proper.
Yeah, and it starts with Jaune flashback, which I was happy about, and for some reason when I had the episode paused, it kept going.
Are a fool!
Yeah, so we get Jaune falling into the ever after, and he sees Crescent Rose.
He makes an attempt to get it, but seems to not be able to, I guess.
Yeah, and he wakes up on the same beach that RWBY did.
Yeah. If the man decided to just stay where he was, I guess... I guess I don't know. No, here's the thing. I mean, Jaune basically gets himself up and he looks around and just like, where am I? I mean, he could have just sat on the beach, but at the same time, I'm trying to ponder, I guess, the way the characters fell and landed in the Ever After, it's really ambiguous who landed when, especially with that Neo thing. So yeah. I was just wondering if, like, maybe if he did sit there, then RWBY would have already been there and left. I don't know.
Although this clarifies a bit, but also raises some more questions because you bring up the Neo thing. He keeps walking and finds this tree with a clock on it.
Bunch of them, actually.
I like to call it McClockany.
Yeah, I bet you do.
And he picks one of the fruits, which I've heard people call a clockonut.
Which, to be fair, is solid punmanship. I can't even hate on that one. But, yeah, because Jaune is Jaune, and his life is seemingly a never-ending torrent of suffering and bad luck of the most epic degree.
Yeah, when he
my god,
it turns back time. Did you notice the flowers?
Yeah. The flowers. Oh, hang on. Well, I'll rewind a little bit to look at flowers.
Yeah, when it shows like a sky view of where Jaune is after time starts turning back.
Let me see. Sky view. He shakes. He throws.
317.
317. Oh. I don't seem to notice anything particular. What's with the flowers?
The flowers have Roman numerals on them. 7, 8, 9,
Oh, so they do. Oh, it's a big-ass clock. Wow. Yeah, I didn't even notice that. Damn. What I noticed was actually, is when Jaune looks up at the sky, you see Team RWBY rewind falling down.
Yep.
Apparently, by looking at it, oh, that's interesting. Hang on a second. Okay, so then the first one, or I guess the last one to fall, I guess was Weiss, then RWBY, and Blake, then Yang? I mean, Yang makes sense, yes, but... No, Weiss last, okay, yeah, okay, fair. I was just trying to get that all pieced together in my brain.
Yeah, for some reason, Neo's the only one who didn't land here.
Yeah, there's a lot of weirdness about that. But anyway, yeah, time is reversing at a truly alarming rate. Jaune does his absolute best to stop the clocko nut, I guess. Doesn't really work, so he smashes the crap out of it. Unfortunately, well, we don't know the exact amount of time he went back. Clearly, it was a lot.
Yeah, because he just... I mean, he figures out, like... Yeah, time was reversing.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to be pretty...
wait.
Yeah. It's, I mean, to be 100% fair to him, like... Frankly, with how much time went by, he had absolutely no guarantee his natural lifespan would have been long enough to wait for that.
That would have been ungodly depressing.
It very much was. Oh, no, straight up. Imagine if Team RWBY fell down here and learned that they basically freaking Futurama dogged Jaune away.
I was thinking about that, too.
Oh, my God. It's like, well, I guess I'll just wait for them. Yeah, and it just took too damn long. That would have been messed. Yeah, no, glad they didn't go that route. Yeah, I mean, I knew they wouldn't, because that would have been, like, the darkest way to get rid of an incredibly important character ever. But yeah. Lord.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Jaune just kind of waited every single day, hoping that they would eventually fall down.
And eventually he sees 2 comets, which are people falling.
Yeah, who do you... Oh!
Did you really just realize who those are?
How about you don't make fun of me, okay? How about you don't? How about you don't?
To be fair, I've only just realized things, like, on these before.
Okay, thank you. Won't say who they are because we're not supposed to know yet. But I get it now.
Sorry.
Anyway, yeah, it's okay. He sees 2 comets falling down. And, yeah, anyway.
But we'll have to get back to that. And I mentioned this in May Watches. I gotta shout out Miles, because when you hear him voice young Jaune and then old Jaune...
There's a difference.
Like, yeah, there's a big difference, but it is the same voice.
Yeah, it's the same voice, it's just Jaune, but he sounds older and more significantly world-weary and beaten down by the world.
Yeah, so, like, kudos to Miles.
It's a very tired Jaune, and yeah, he voices it very, very well.
Yeah.
And, you know, yes?
Yeah, it's stuff like that I can always, like, respect voice actors for, and, like... I still remember, like, when Lindsay was voicing for Cross Tag Battle, they had to do RWBY doing an impression of someone from BlazBlue, but they're still RWBY's voice.
Yeah.
Like,
playing a character playing a character imitating another character is one of, like, the hardest things a voice actor can do. Not to go on too far of a tangent, I'll make it really quick. That's why Mel Blanc is considered, like, one of the all-time bests, because he could play Bugs Bunny impersonating Daffy Duck, talking to Daffy Duck impersonating Bugs Bunny. It's like, goddamn. Oh yeah. So I have nothing but unending respect to all voice actors. It is a true art form.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of arcly humorous that, you know, we were pondering about Jaune's flashback about what it could possibly happen, and
yeah, everyone thought it was he just on a different time period for some reason.
Yeah, but we had all these ideas, and, you know, well, what could he have gone through in that particular instance? But nah, I mean, for the most part, dude just straight up waited it for the girls to show up, and it makes a lot of, when we learn a little bit more, it makes a lot of sense why he saw those fall and why events would take place. It makes sense.
Yeah. And
yeah, there's not a whole lot of story there to tell. Man just landed, made a mistake, and had to wait.
Yeah, and with all this waiting, he's just like, is it really you?
I don't doubt that. Like, again, my brain is telling me he's waited a minimum of 20, but I want to err on more like the side of 30 years for these 4 to show up. I'd be hesitant to believe it too. There's a nice hug.
Yeah, and I love Little.
I always forget about Little joining the hug.
Little's just like, I don't even know who you are, but hug.
But hugs are nice. They're very valuable.
Yeah. But Team RWBY do understandably have some questions. For Jaune, Ruby asks, how did you find us? Blake's like, how in the heck are you the Rusted Knight? And Yang attempts to ask something. When did you get so...
You want me to do it?
It's Weiss.
Weiss interrupts, because Yang says, when did you get so... Then Weiss cuts it and says, sure.
Yeah.
But, however, Weiss then immediately realizes that she just kind of gave away what her type is, and gets incredibly embarrassed and tries to play it off. Yang and Blake are obviously going to make fun of her for this in the future. What RWBY just kind of looks confused. Now, I won't dwell on this for too long, but there's not a ton of Weiss content specifically in this episode, so I gotta roll with what I've got. It is interesting to see exactly what Weiss's type is, and now I have to just kind of casually live with the knowledge that she might have a particular fondness for men with beards and long hair, but that's not really what I need to dwell on right now. But
you know what?
Yes.
That's also just another type amongst Team RWBY. Like, Blake's is apparently blondes.
Oh.
Weiss, mature. And...
Yeah, that's code.
You know what? If we allow, like, even just, like, all the supporting material, we could say RWBY's as farm boys.
I guess you could. Now, I guess I could get further into this when there's, I guess it's more prevalent, or I'll just get through here now. A lot of discussion was had about this particular scene because, basically people are kind of interpreting it as a white knight moment, and to a certain degree it is, but at the same time I don't think it's really meant to be taken too terribly seriously. Especially
with a scene we'll talk about later on.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like this is just kind of a tongue-in-cheek reference to ye olden days of RWBY, calling back to that old Jaune and Weiss dynamic that did exist, that has, let's be real here, basically vanished from the face of the earth after Volume 3.
Like, I want to say they Volume didn't go 2.
Yeah. That was me, yeah.
It could have been brought back in 5.
Could have, but they never did. That's the thing. So my brain and heart tell me that if it really was something that they were going to go with, it would have put in a little bit more effort. I really do think that this was just meant to be Weiss accidentally puts foot in her mouth and reveals, I guess, what gets her going in a way.
What she looks for in a partner.
Yeah, exactly. And just
sorry,
being very embarrassed about it.
I love, like, her face and also the way Kara delivers that line. Just the mature.
It's... There's a lot of words I could use to describe this entire sequence, and I'm not going to say any of them!
I want to see just behind-the-scenes footage of Kara doing that line, because, like, she's been into that pairing since, like, the beginning. So I'm just like, this is, like, the one line they have. It's just like, how am I gonna deliver this?
Yeah, it could be the only time, too, so... She did a great job. Kara always does a great job. But anyway, I just figure, I'm the Weiss guy. People wonder about how I feel about Weiss things. That's the Weiss discourse that has been going on. I guess I should also just kind of bring this up very quickly. It's my personal opinion. You're allowed to think whatever else you want. But at this exact juncture, when you take in all possible avenues into account, it really does feel like Weiss is telegraphed to be just heterosexual in general.
Especially if we bring in, like...
If we bring in the backup materials, then it is even more telegraphed. point is, honestly, out of the entire main four of the girls, Weiss is portrayed as the most consistently interested in men.
Yeah, I mean, RWBY I could see being, like, asexual.
Yeah. And depending on how you want to interpret things with Penny, maybe there's something there.
Yeah, like,
then there's also, you gotta take into the fact that... Yeah, there's so many different things RWBY could be. We're gonna have to we need further information to really be able to figure that out. But the point is...
of course, I imagine, like, the voice actors aren't just gonna flat out say, like...
No, they're not. And also, I mean, Lindsay has made their thoughts known, but what a voice actor wants and what a character actually gets are not always one-to-one.
Yeah.
That's that factor reality. So, but the voice actors are just kind of swayed by the ways of the writers, and that's just the way that it's gonna be. Yeah. So that was basically... Almost, it seems like every episode ends up trending for one reason or another these days, and
every night I look at Twitter, something RWBY related is trending this week.
I know, it's pretty crazy. But the point is, so Weiss trends and Jaune trends, and people are like, oh, but what does this mean? Does it mean they're gonna do this? Does it mean that Weiss is this? My personal thoughts are, this was just a fun little reference to the old days with an old dynamic that no longer exists, revealing what Weiss personally wants in a romantic relationship, and also making just a funny comedic joke, while also, I feel, really just kind of makes it pretty clear that Weiss is straight at this point.
Yeah, I also feel like this solidifies that her and Neptune absolutely not a thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely, because we briefly discussed this.
That's like the ship equivalent of beating a dead horse.
I mean, we briefly talked about this off-screen, and we can just very quickly get through it. As even Kara's basically said, well, Weiss likes, mature people, but men perhaps, most likely.
Yeah,
and
there's a video of her and Aaron talking about that.
Yeah. And essentially, when you look back on it, when we first meet Neptune and he has this very carefully calculated, facade that he creates for himself, he even tells Jaune outright that he tries really hard to be, mature and confident.
His weapon is literally called Try Hard.
That is hilarious. So yes, the point is, he tries very, very, very hard to look cool and mature, and that's what initially caused Weiss to have some interest, but then once it became incredibly obvious that he was very much not what he tried to present himself as, it fizzled out like that, so...
Plus, I mean, flirting with 4 girls at once in front of her probably didn't help.
Oh, it definitely not, but also I would say that definitely constitutes as not being particularly mature.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did somehow manage to stretch this, 4-second joke into, 7 minutes of commentary. Let's move on. Jaune!
Yeah, because Jaune has some news for everybody.
They basically say that there's a lot of catching up for both sides at this point.
Yeah, but, yeah, Jaune fills them in that Salem got both relics. So, yeah, they weren't even able to save the staff.
Yeah, they, and the girls obviously have differing opinions on this whole thing. RWBY, who's going through this the hardest at this point, is feeling even more hopeless. Blake tries to put a little bit of a positive spin on the situation, but Weiss retorts that, well, we really did just kind of put all of our eggs in this one basket, and we didn't even get that. Aang, to her credit, tries to do what she can to try and
she does
support
try
RWBY.
Console RWBY. It's just like, hey, look, that's what Ironwood used to think. I know you don't mean that.
Yeah, you can't give in to the fear and the hopelessness. It's very easy, obviously. You. Yeah. But very tellingly, and this is something that this is part of why I don't know if you can really count the White Knight moment as a real White Knight moment, is because Jaune very, very quickly just kind of goes, hey, ho, so, we kind of don't have time for all of this, emotional stuff. We kind of got to go. There's a big-ass storm coming. We very quickly realize Jaune is a lot more hurt and kind of aggressive at times.
Yeah,
it keeps happening.
Also, when you think about it, he's been dealing with these thoughts for so much longer.
I mean, to his credit, when, he says that, he looks at them and, breathes in and out, and just like, yeah, okay, no, that was kind of not cool. Okay, look, we can talk and do stuff later when we're in the safe spot. That's sort of thing.
Yeah.
So then they walked through the mighty forest. Or I guess it's more of a
meadow.
field, not forest. Meadow. You're a meadow. Anyway.
And Jean's just like, hey, I'm surprised you got through the Crimson Place by yourself. And Blake's all, no, we had a cat helping us out. Don't know where they are, though. And Jean's like...
And as it turns out, cat is Jean's trigger word. That makes him super aggro.
Yeah, and...
Then the cat comes back.
Timing could not be more perfect on that, by the way.
I almost feel like it had to have been deliberate on the cat's part at this point. Because what bada boom tumbles on in and says, man, it's always the last place you look. But hey, I found you guys. Oh, hey, it's Jean. How is you?
Jean pulls out his sword and like, alright, time to die.
Jean was about to murder that cat. Good lord. Had to stop. Blake is like, hey, I think there has to be some kind of misunderstanding here, because, the cat's helpful. And then John's all like, oh, hell no, that cat ain't helpful. We ain't getting that cat's help. We are getting out of here, right now.
And the cat's all, but they want to go to the tree. And John's what?
Freaking tree? Is that what he told you? It's like, well, that's how it was in the story. And
yeah, that's how Alyx got out.
You lying cat of doom! How dare thee! John is all manner of pissed off at this cat, because you told them nothing. And the cat's all like, hey, I told them lots of things, but they're also not things, and things that are and aren't. I've said many words, is basically the cat's general defensive mechanism on this one.
I appreciate Weiss here just being like, can someone please make sense?
Yeah, that would be nice. This place is consistently confusing.
I made that joke in my May Watches. I'm gonna make it here. Weiss speaks for us all there.
It really does. It's like, okay, cool. You guys are obviously having a conversation several steps above the context that we have. Could you bring it back a bit so we can be filled in?
Yeah, so Jean explains that, well, the tree is what causes ascension. And it absorbs you, erases your memories, and turns you into something that you're not. It's basically killing.
Yeah, it basically kills you and then reforms you into a new being. It's very messed up. And, yeah, it's like, Blake's like, that don't make no sense. And Yang's all like, yo, I think I might hate this cat too.
Well, also, Yang makes her third pun in this whole series.
Yeah, I know. 10 years, 3 puns. And, what, Blake is still 1 ahead of her?
4, yeah.
Yeah, so she's at 4 to her 3. Fascinating, that. Let's characterize Blake as the pun master here. Thank you and good day.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, also, the cat does compliment the pun. But, yeah.
And John's just like, oh, then tell me what happened to Lewis. And everyone's like, who the heck is a Lewis?
Who the heck is a Lewis? That don't make no sense.
Alex's brother.
Yeah, apparently she had one. That's interesting.
And everyone's like, say what?
Well, then a little. And they keep asking the cat questions, but they don't want to. John says we gotta go this way because the storm is coming in.
And the cat's like, well, looks like we're at a crossroads.
And I believe this is the bright light warning moment.
Yeah.
Because it's the whole world just kind of gets shot together by like this big flash of white. And everybody is brought into the Punderstorm is what it was called. I almost called it the Crossroads, but no, that's its point, not what it's called.
Yeah, I love that name, Punderstorm.
Yeah, no, because everything has to be something. But it's we saw it in the intro. It's the area with all of the windy concrete roads and leading all over the dang place. Which
just reminds me of what's it called again? The Cosmic Speedway from Archie Sonic.
Yeah, a little bit.
Something
it
like
does
that.
kind of. Yeah, I don't know if. No, inspiration comes from billions of different places. Maybe it has some connection. Maybe it doesn't. We have no way of knowing. Regardless, everybody does arrive, and Jean basically gives the lowdown. It is a manifestation of conflict, and we are basically in a literal and metaphorical crossroads. and you gotta figure out what you're gonna do in order to get out of it, or just kind of wait for it to pass. And Weiss obviously considers this entire situation very typical of this entire thing. And then she makes the horrendous mistake of referring to the place as the pits, and then a hole opens up and she falls down it, because of course it happens!
And Jaune's just like, well, I know where this is going. The only way to solve this problem is to either solve the problem or wait for the storm to pass.
I'll just keep going, and then Weiss falls from the sky and lands on her back and says, yeah, I asked for that.
Yeah.
Now, okay, well, first of all, the fact that Jaune knew all of this ahead of time and kind of could have vaguely figured this out and yet made absolutely no effort to help Weiss in this capacity is part of my reasoning.
I will say, would have been a neat Volume 1 callback.
It would have, but again, I feel like they deliberately did not include that for that expressed purpose.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just reading too much maybe I'm reading too much into it, but she's Weiss. I read into everything about her too much.
I do the same with Blake, dude.
Yeah, so be what it be. And yeah, so to be fair, literally nobody made an attempt, but regardless. I don't know if you ever saw this web series, but to anybody who has, when I was watching this with my friend Knight, I basically came to the conclusion that Weiss had a very Charlie the Unicorn-esque reaction to this entire moment, where, if you don't know, basically the character is a very sarcastic and, like, jaded and somber person, and he's in a world full of abject nonsense that he has to deal with on the daily. Eventually, as the series continues, he eventually reaches the point of, yeah, sure, I don't know what else I expected to have happen, so, yeah. Like, that sort of thing.
That's just Weiss in the Ever After in a nutshell. Just...
Yeah, she's moved past becoming frustrated and just like, yeah, of course that happens. Bleh.
I bet, I
Anyway.
think Weiss is going to be the happiest to get back to Remnant.
Absolutely. Anyway, so, yeah, that's basically the long and short of it, and they just kind of move on forward, and they go down that road. Eventually,
they come across a sign where it's just like, yeah, Weiss
like the signpost.
or the cat. It's like Jaune or the cat. But...
I mean, in that instance, I choose Weiss. Thank you. I like this option. That's a very easy choice. Thank you, mate. Yeah, Jaune basically even just kind of melancholically just goes, this would be faster if you just choose.
And they choose
while
Jaune.
we don't actually... Yeah, they don't actually show them make... Oh, they do show them make the turn. Yeah, they choose the path of Jaune. And, they inquire... Okay, well, first and foremost, they walk past a bunch of these reflective surfaces, and it's very blink and you miss it, but as RWBY walks past one of them, her reflection is Summer.
Yeah, I missed that on my first watch.
I missed it, too. Yeah. It is very blink and you miss it. Like, unlike other ones, they don't linger on it.
In a way, I missed it, but in a way, I didn't, because immediately after it happened, I was like, wait, there was something there.
Oh, hang on a second, let me back that up.
Yeah, well, obviously I couldn't when recording a reaction, but, like...
Yeah, obviously, but it's like, I will go back and look at that later.
Yeah.
Like, other reflective surfaces have, like, Jaune see Penny, and Weiss looks at the fall of Atlas, and she's very sad.
Yeah. I will just say, like, I like and also don't like, because it's depressing, the detail that the music that they play in the background is the same as, like, the fall of Atlas at the end of Volume 8.
Yeah.
And I caught on to that because when I had a friend over and I was showing him, like, the first 3 episodes of Volume 9, because those all that were out at the time, he couldn't remember if he'd watched the Volume 8 finale, so I put that on. And,
He couldn't remember if he saw... It's not like it was an unmemorable.
My friends are weird, okay?
Clearly. Did I see the ending of Volume 8, all of the things that happened in... Okay, I could be on that forever. Just continue, sorry.
Anyway, so, they asked, Jaune, like, so, what happened to you, exactly? And...
Yeah, it's like, I don't understand... I don't understand how the story could be both true, but not. Jaune decides to give the real story.
Yeah, so... And I do like how, like, it's done in, like, a storybook-style drawing.
Oh, yeah, no, in fact, it kind of reminds me a little bit of, I don't remember exactly what it was called, but it was like that spinoff, the Fairy Tales of Remnant.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
Neat.
Yeah.
Also explains why that it also explains why that show never did The Girl That Fell Through the World.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been a spoiler. Anyway,
Yeah,
please, go ahead.
While Jaune was waiting, 2 people fell, Alyx and her brother Lewis.
And those were the comets we saw him see fall down.
Also, the 2 blue comets in the opening at the title card. And
There you go.
if you remember that shot of Alyx in the portrait when RWBY is falling past several things, there's a silhouette with glasses next to her, that being Lewis.
Oh, you're totally right. And I would just like to very quickly, and don't make fun of me for this one, okay? The reason I was confused about the 2 comets is because they're all clearly color-coded. You saw the RWBY girls have different colors, and Weiss's was blue, and then the comets were coming, and one of them was still blue, and I was like, I got confused. That's why.
Fair enough.
It's not even just, whoa, he's got Weiss on the brain again. Yes, I know I do, but it was blue. I thought, what, Weiss is falling? But that wouldn't make sense. She wouldn't have been the first one to fall. Now things make more sense.
Anyway, so...
Turns out Alyx was a total asshole, though.
Yeah, I mean, it also didn't take Jaune long to figure out, like, oh, no, I'm in Alyx's story. I am the Rusted Knight. Damn.
Do you imagine, like, straight up, like, you end up in a strange world and then later, like, and then just as things slowly develop over the years, you realize, oh, wait, I'm a character in a fairy tale? Read this growing up. That's trippy.
Yeah.
Also, then Alyx does a very evil DreamWorks face.
Yeah, and, so they go to places that, well, weren't written about, like Hub.
Right, but just to be fully inclusive on all the things, basically Jaune says that Alyx wasn't, just kinda, petulant or rude. No, she was actually kind of a massive jerk. It was actually her brother Lewis who was the smart, nice one.
And
yeah, but they never brought up the herbalist, but they went there.
I also want to point out, know how Alyx is like happy and clapping at Hub? Lewis and the cat.
And Lewis and
not.
the cat.
I'm gonna be calling back to the cat in a bit because after the smoke stuff and whatever Alyx saw made everything worse.
Right. See, Jaune says that after they were at the herbalist, Alyx became even more aggressive and distrustful. It's my personal theory that basically she was presented with the exact same offer that RWBY was put up against, but took it, and that's part of why the cat was so adamant on preventing RWBY from doing it. I mean, the cat was there, saw it happen.
Yeah, but
it makes sense. Like,
just I also noticed when it's like this shot of Alyx like turning back and Jaune has his hand out, like, hey, hold on. The cat's smiling there.
Yeah. I can't get a read on this cat. I honestly can't tell if they are malicious, like trying to actually be helpful, if they're just purely morally gray and an agent of chaos. I honestly do not know what this cat is supposed to be or what its true goals are.
I mean, fitting for Robbie Damon.
True.
Based on the one other character we really know him for.
That character's intentions were always obvious, but that's
I
digress. But I digress. Point is, things soured, and Jaune's mental state does not exactly take this well, because every single time he tried to make the story go back to being the way that he knew it, it just kept deviating more and more, and he laments on how he couldn't even be a make-believe hero. Oh, this poor guy.
And top it off, Alyx poisons him.
Granted, he doesn't die from this, but he is knocked out. Apparently, Alyx said that she wasn't going to let literally anybody stop her from being able to get to the tree and getting out of this place.
And note at the very, very end of the hand-drawn fairy tale stuff, you can see the cat's eyes, like through the trees.
And let me see here. God dang, you're right. Man, that's very subtle. Then Jaune kind of wraps the whole thing up with very succinct. So yeah, exactly my favorite story anymore.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, no, that blows. That really blows. And
oh my god!
Obviously, yeah.
It'd be like if someone was a huge fan of the Star Wars movies, like the original trilogy, and then something happened which they made them realize they're in the prequels and they're Obi-Wan. So they like maybe try and turn Anakin good, but then everything keeps deviating more and more, and he still becomes Vader.
Yeah, and just like, so now I just kind of hate everything about this. Girls obviously try to, their condolences. I don't really know how much it really meant to him, but it's something.
Yeah, and
also, Jaune sees his younger self in the reflection. Oh.
Yeah. Ruby's all, why do you hate the cat so much?
Hang on, just to very quickly alleviate this dark moment before we, go back to being dark. There's this one scene in SpongeBob where he goes and he talks to this one cashier register and he looks at a picture of him from like years ago. It's like, oh, look at you, so bright and happy. Pulls it down and the guy is just absolutely goddamn miserable. That is basically Jaune right now.
Oh god, yeah.
He used to be happy and young and full of life, and look at the poor guy. But yeah, RWBY asks why he hates the cat so much.
Yeah, and he figured out the cat's role in the Ever After, and it's to get afterings to the tree for ascension.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, we kind of gathered. They kind of do it by, like, they say it's healing, but Jaune calls it manipulation, and it's that whole, like, give someone a piece of their heart that we've seen.
I gotta be honest with you, from everything I've seen, that tracks. Because, I mean, Red Prince and the and the herbalist, they basically just do complete 180s almost immediately once the cat pops in. So it's like, I'm gonna have to agree with you so far.
The only difference is we didn't see the Red Prince ascend.
Oh, we didn't. So we don't know the full context on how this whole thing is meant to go, but
I mean, maybe maybe he did, like, once RWBY left.
Yeah, well, regardless.
Oh, and that explains why the guards were just, like, so far away from the castle. They were just like, well, gonna be a while till he's back.
Yeah, I guess that's possible. Yeah. I mean, it's only a theory. I doubt we're gonna get a concrete answer on that one.
Yeah, who knows? We've been to the castle, we're done with the Red Prince, so, like, eh.
Yeah, so that part of the story's pretty much done. Anyway, so obviously the cat drops back in, and obviously the girls are a little confrontational. It's like, Jaune told us everything, and the cat's all like, yeah, I'm sure he did, but, he's not exactly, a sane person anymore, which...
I mean, also, to the girls' credit,
on one hand...
They do bring up the cat knew about the story already, because Jaune would have told him.
Yeah, and the cat just decided to not bring that up and act like it was still new to them. Sure, Jaune would have told them all about Remnant at some point or another during all of that. So, yeah, but yeah, then the cat questions Jaune's, sanity. And on one hand, it's really sucks because you just want to instinctively believe Jaune 100%.
Because he's someone that we know.
We know him, he's Jaune. But at the same time, he has lived longer in this place than he has in the world we know him from. There is the very real possibility that he has changed in ways that we don't fully understand yet. Yeah. Then you look at some of the things the cat says and the perspective. You just kind of have to weigh it back and forth, and you're like, I don't know.
And there are a few things
I feel
the cat says that I do question. It's just like,
yeah, absolutely.
The cat does say, yeah, I'm trying to get you to a tree, but not to ascend, because you're not afterends, so it's not gonna work.
As far
do we have
as
actual proof that that's the case?
We do, in fact, not have any evidence on that at all.
Can we find Neo and test that out?
She's the perfect test dummy for this whole thing.
Sorry to Neo fans. That was just an attempt at being funny.
I'm not. I'm very malicious.
Well, you didn't say it.
I didn't, but if I did, then that would have been my intent. Regardless, they continue to confront the cat. The cat laments, essentially.
Did you notice when the cat does that, the color like, fades a little.
Yeah, it's less vibrant.
Yeah, and it's just
Then
like, I don't actually know what happened. Alyx tricked me. She said she'd take me through the door to Remnant, but... Nope.
What exactly happened to her?
Yeah, even with this, we don't get a clear answer.
No, we have no idea. And the cat's basically like, well, I see how it is. Basically, I used you for information. You just used me to get to what you want. There isn't really much anything going on here. You don't want me around. You've made your choice. Fine, fair. I'm out.
Which,
also,
I mean, I can't blame the cat, because it is true.
It is true. I mean, that's why they don't retort back to it. The girls obviously look pretty bummed by this, because it's like, well, yeah, that's true. Also, I've seen people bring this up, and animators confirm that if you look at Ruby's body language, she's basically holding her arms in, like, the exact pose she would
if she was holding Crescent Rose.
Holding Crescent Rose, yeah.
I saw that.
And it's like, oh, that's really depressing. I even saw someone Photoshop it in, and it fits perfectly. It's
yeah, nuts. I saw that image too.
Yeah. But, yeah, the cat's basically said, fine. Good luck with everything that you're doing, I guess.
Peace out, nerds.
Pretty much. And then the whole thing shatters. Boom, 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 boom. We're out.
And back in the meadow.
Yep. And Jaune's like, well, choice has been made. We're good to go.
Back to my house.
Into my hut. And wouldn't you know it? He does have a hut. Or I guess a village. There's another hut behind it, at least. Oh, I guess this is just where Jaune has been living this whole dang time.
I guess. I mean...
Girls, yeah.
Yeah. He has something
the girls
for
are,
Ruby.
yeah. The girls are just kind of trying to get acclimated to the whole thing. Weiss has an incredibly adorable teacup. I like that a lot. Jaune comes in the room and says, hey, yo, got something for you there, Ruby. Because apparently it was the first thing he saw when he fell, and when he saw it, he knew that basically everybody else was going to end up showing up pretty soon, too. And it's Crescent Rose, and...
Hold it!
Yes, you did. Also, Ruby does not have the expected reaction to seeing her weapon again that one might naturally assume.
That's all kinds of depressing, because, look, Crescent Rose is her baby, basically.
Yeah, Ruby basically comes within basically a hair's width of having a panic attack?
Yeah.
The world dulls, she breathes heavier, and it's only Jaune continuing to talk to her that's able to snap her out of it in any capacity. But her team is happy about it. It's like, yay, you got it back.
Like, that's a little clap.
Ruby does
cute.
And, Weiss, tips her little teacup. It's cute. It's nice. Ruby does muster out a thank you, and Jaune says, you're welcome. As he goes off to bed, Ruby asks, what did happen to Lewis?
Yeah, and... Okay, Jaune says, I think Alyx traded him to the tree.
Right.
He thinks that's what happened.
Right. This one line is up so many possibilities for how this could go.
Okay, so my theory is that it's the other way around. Lewis is the one that made it back, not Alyx.
Right. Right. And maybe he wrote the book and maybe even tried to make his sister look better.
Yeah, because, like, at the end of the day, she was still his sister, and, like, what happened in the Ever After changed her. And at that point, it was just like...
Wants to remember the good parts. That's totally within the realms of possibility.
Yeah. And also, fun fact.
Yes.
The author
what is this fact?
Of Alice in Wonderland is named Lewis.
That is actually true. Either you're right, or they really just wanted to make that reference, which I could respect either way.
Yeah, it could still be Alyx as the one that made it back, and like, who knows? Or maybe they both did. Like,
yeah. But then why would Lewis have written himself out of the story?
That is true. Although I've also seen the theory that like Lewis is a past husband life. And
but then
that could tie
I guess there's no
like him letting Jaune into Beacon because he was like, wait, that's the rusted knife I met in the Ever After that one time.
That would be trippy, honestly.
It would.
I guess there's literally no evidence to hard confirm that literally every single one of Ozpin's life started with "ah" in the name.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was kind of the impression we got. Ozma, Ozpin, Oscar. I don't know. Lewis? Well, I guess it's not impossible. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
As for my theory, well, it's a whole lot more intricate, to say the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Okay, so feel free to interject as often as you want. Okay. So, there's this little old theory going on here. Assuming that John's theory is correct, and that somebody was sacrificed to the tree to open up some kind of gateway to get out of the Ever After back into the real world, naturally, a fan's first inclination is going to be, aha, is something going to be sacrificed, a person, a character perhaps, in order to facilitate the girls returning? Naturally, something that people are going to go on about is perhaps maybe that person being Jaune. Okay.
Well, because we know it's not going to be any of Team RWBY.
That's the thing. RWBY, Weiss, Blake, and Yang are going to survive until the end. They just are. Their names are literally in the title.
Yeah.
Now, I know how it sounds to think that Jaune, freaking Jaune, of all characters, would be killed off in any capacity. But you do have to look back on the fact that, oh, the writers have done a lot of things you wouldn't have honestly expected with side characters at this point. Sure, you might be able to just kind of sidestep the whole Pyrrha thing, but
There's
anybody on
Penny
Earth
back and then killing her off again.
There's that. There's also the fact that Nora has, like, very likely full-on permanent full body scarring for the rest of her life. But anybody saw that coming. My point is, the writers have been known to throw curveballs. They really have. And thing is, it pains me to say this, because you want to just go, it's Jaune, obviously there's going to be something else, blah, 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 blah. The fact of the matter is, this possibility has been foreshadowed in the past. You might recall back at, was it Haven?
Yeah, when he said to Cinder, if he dies, like, they're the ones that
Doesn't matter because everyone else is important, which means he already has a sacrificial inclination to himself.
Yeah. But then there's, Ren and Nora saying that they heard that and they don't want to lose him.
I understand that. True. And look, I'm not saying this theory wanting Jaune to die. I want him to stay. I like Jaune. He's awesome. He's always been great. But we gotta look at the pieces on the board here. When you come to terms with the fact that, well, Jaune does have that small little bit of him that is willing to just sacrifice himself casually if it means being able to save someone that he perceives to be more important, then you add on the fact that, well, he's been living with the grief of having to have basically killed Penny, and there's the fact that he tried to be the Rusted Knight of Legend, and he, in his mind, he failed epically and failed to even be a pretend hero, as he said it. I'm just saying, the pieces line up that maybe as compensation or penance or however he chooses to justify the entire situation, him sacrificing himself could be seen as, by him, as the heroic, logical option to get the girls back. They're the ones that matter, not him. He could sacrifice himself, die, ascend, and be resurrected as the true Rusted Knight. He's one of the biggest plot threads for Jaune this entire series has been his desire to be a real hero. And that would make him one, in the truest sense of the term. And when you look into the fact that RWBY is going through so much emotional duress and questioning things and pondering all of these various thoughts, it's possible that maybe she'll think that, well, she's been compromised. She's not good. She's not going to help. She's not any good at this anymore. She wants to give up. And in a moment, she makes the idea of sacrificing herself to the tree to get everybody else out.
I've seen that theory too.
And Jaune could take the metaphorical bullet in that instance. And yes?
I have something
I have a little more.
I have something that could still have this be like, yeah, this is about to happen, but something will happen and stop this. And, well, I hate even thinking about this. What if that's Little's purpose?
It's not impossible.
Like, RWBY says, no, I'll do it. And Jaune's like, no, I'll do it. And Little says, look, I've wanted to help you get home. I think this is my purpose. Let me do this. Like, I'm from the Ever After. You guys aren't. Go back to your world. Like, yeah, that sort of thing.
True. But
I mean, Little Duck wants to do whatever they can to help RWBY and the others get home.
That's true. That's true.
I hate thinking, like, oh, that's actually, like, a less depressing option, because it means, like, I don't want to get rid of Little.
I don't either, and man, I hate to say this, I really do, but I think it being the less depressing option makes it the less enticing one. So what, they created Little to do this exact purpose, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It just seems like a convenient get-out-of-jail-free card from, like, your consequences from having ended up in here.
I guess.
I mean, again, I'm not advocating for Jaune's death here. That would suck. But it would also, unquestionably, hurt a hell of a lot more, and I think mean more. Because part of my theory, and I guess this could also apply to Little if they do it, but it's conceivable that RWBY could bear witness to this sacrifice of potentially Jaune, and of just seeing the fact that this selflessness, this moment of... See, the whole thing with RWBY right now is she thinks the situation is hopeless. Why bother going back up there? Salem is immortal. There's nothing you can do. Your mom couldn't do anything. Every plan that you've done is pointless. Why are you even bothering? Give up. But if she were to see, potentially, Jaune, of all people, who's been through so much himself, willingly sacrifice himself to give the rest of Team RWBY this chance. See that even after what he's personally been through, he's willing to do this just on the off chance that they can do it, because he believes that they can. While it wouldn't obviously cure RWBY of her self-doubt, I believe seeing something like that would go a long way to restore her sense of hope that there is a chance. That at the very bare minimum, even if she can't win, fighting is still the better option than giving up.
Yeah, like, I am sitting here trying to think of ways that just, like, that...
You could, in theory, do this. You could, in theory, do this with Little. I just think that if it were Jaune, it would hit about 1,000,000 times harder.
It would.
Even for RWBY as a character, it would hit harder. Of course, this is just a theory. For all we know, the cast aren't even going to go to the tree at all. Maybe Jaune has another idea.
Maybe the Vault World theory I had turns out to be true, and something the cat said did make me think about that. And that's that Alyx promised to take them with her through the door to Remnant. The vaults are literal doors.
Oh, Maybe. Oh yeah, I bounced this off with Knight. A lot of this is his ideas too, and it just felt very convincing and thematic, and it made a lot of sense to me. But again, purely a theory. Could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
I don't want Jaune to die. I've always liked him as a character. I'd like to see him get his happy ending. But I also can't look at everything in front of me and pretend that it's not a possibility.
Yeah, I'm just not
possibility.
I just want to be
possibility
looking forward
that
to like the scene of like them having to tell Ren and Nora is just like, yeah, Jaune's gone.
Yeah, that would. But RWBY freaking live for twisting the knife. They do it every chance they can get. Whole thing's a mess, man.
Yeah, best we can do is hope.
Got 4 episodes left.
Yeah,
Here's hoping Jaune's got some. Here's hoping Jaune's got some kind of plan, because we got Neo on the back burner still.
Yeah,
to deal with her.
That's still a thing.
So basically, we need to figure out what's going to happen with Neo. We have to figure out what's going to help RWBY at least gain the will to fight again, even if it's not, you know, clearly fixing all of her problems. That would be unrealistic, but for some semblance of being able to continue.
And RWBY's got to find out like what actually happened to Penny.
Watch and be amazed, as that somehow never comes up.
And they're building up to something with Summer.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on here.
That's 3 episodes in a row she's either been seen or mentioned.
It's got to mean something.
Yeah, I don't know what. Like, maybe Summer is here.
Maybe that's, okay, my theory was the super dark one. Maybe the super lighthearted possibility is that Summer is magically somehow in here, and she is able to give RWBY the confidence she needs in order to get out of this whole funk.
Oh, that would also hit really hard, because it's like, coming from Ruby's mother.
It would, but at the same time, it also feels kinda convenient.
I mean, not as convenient as a theory that a lot of people had, which was, oh, Raven just makes a portal to Yang, and that's how they get out.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm just gonna go out here and say that that's most likely not going to happen.
Yeah, I just looked at that as a Deus Ex Machina.
That would be an ass pull.
Yeah,
I would hate that. Boy, I would hate that a lot. Well, there you go, basically. Oh, by the way, this, this was episode 6. And, I told you, man, that was a long-ass conversation. A lot of implications. I wanna know where it all goes. The wait is forever killing me.
I know, right?
Every episode as the Rooster Teeth logo plays, a pit of pure anxiety forms in my stomach as I continuously worry and dread over every conceivable possibility that could take place that happened, and it's like, oh, things are gonna get worse before they get better. Is this the episode where it all comes apart? We know what's coming. RWBY's gonna break.
I think it's gonna be episode 7.
Yeah, because like you told me off camera, the sequence of events in the intro would sort of imply that.
Yeah. Also, some members of RWBY were asked like what their favorite episode to work on was. One of them said episode 4, which was all the smoke and everyone like confronting their past selves. RWBY not so much.
Very strong episode.
And the other one was episode 7.
So that's concerning.
Yeah. At least it's not like this episode where so many people were like building up and being like, look, don't go online if you don't want to be spoiled. Like, watch it as soon as you can.
Yep, they just kept building and building and building and building and building. So when the episode came out, I felt like I'm hyperventilating.
Yeah.
But That it?
Well...
Oh, I can't shake this feeling. Forgetting something?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, right!
If you're watching,
right,
we weren't gonna talk about this.
We somehow kind of managed to just completely not even bring up the fact that, Blake and Yang are currently making out on the screen right now. Interesting. Okay. Do you have any thoughts on that? Mate?
Okay, just throwing this out there, we've had this planned for, like, years. But...
The entire idea was that the episode where this exact event took place, we would play it off and completely ignore it until the very end.
But...
We did not anticipate the episode making it as hard as it was to do it. But I think we did okay.
Yeah, so... Let's backtrack and talk about this.
Let's talk back. Okay. How about I set up the scene and you can just take it from there?
Alright.
Okay. Here's the thing. So the Plunger Storm comes up. It wasn't all the girls. It was just RWBY, Weiss, Jaune, and Juniper, the jackalope. And after a little bit, RWBY ponders, well, where are Blake and Yang? Where'd they go? And Jaune, pretty much telegraphing to everybody watching what's about to go down, says, they must have had something bigger to deal with. Take it away. If you need me to contribute, feel free to ask, but this is your thing.
Alright, so it cuts from Jaune to Yang, and Yang realizes, oh, I'm on a really rickety bridge. There's no platforms in front of me or behind me. The wind is really strong. There's Blake way off in the distance. There's a giant pillar platform between them. And through all these strong winds, I'm actually amazed they can hear each other. When you really think about it.
Admittedly, yes, that is a little silly. But honestly, there's something that happens a little later that kind of answers that slightly, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, true. But Blake says that they need to get to the platform, and Yang just looks at the huge-ass gap and is like, but how do we take the next step?
Huddle.
Yeah, like, look, Jaune saying that was like your first hint.
But that, we all know where this is going.
Yeah.
But then we cut back to sorry.
Yeah, Blake, when Yang asks Blake if she's doing alright, Blake says she'll feel a lot better when they're together on that platform.
Right, it just very quickly, it should be noted that scene happened, then we cut to Jaune telling the story about Alyx, and then we cut back to
this.
Blake and Yang.
Yeah.
Alright, now we're good.
And as she says that, a panel of the bridge appears in front of her, so she can take a step forward. So Yang's like, oh, right, I guess that's what I gotta do. Together! Platform! Doesn't work, but...
Open sesame!
I respect Yang for trying that. But, hey, she's confident that Blake will figure it out, because she's good at that, and she has a really good brain.
Very good.
Yeah. Which, to her credit, it does get more platforms to appear. So she's like, oh, I guess I gotta talk about you. Alright. You have cat ears. Smooth. But she pulls it back by saying that she always thought her cat ears were cute. And I love this pose when Yang's all nailed it.
Yeah, that's technically.
Pose.
I interpret it as nailed it. I finally flirted competently. It's not that, but it feels that way.
Yeah, and Blake realizes, oh, we've got to just say things that we've never said to one another. And I love Yang's after you pose.
Well, it's like, I mean, to be fair, Yang started, so it's only fair that Blake goes ahead and does it. Anyway, have fun, man.
Oh my god, this whole next bit. Blake starts off by saying that she thinks Yang is an extraordinary person, and look how Yang's eyes change at that point.
Yeah, she did not expect such a truly genuine compliment.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that was deeper than I thought. Damn.
Yeah, look, the more you look into the scene, the more you realize, not just the animators, but everyone went hard on this moment.
Can't imagine why.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go into it a bit more later, but Blake goes on to say that, Yang's always the first to brighten a situation, that she acts so brave even when she's scared, and she does what she says. Which gets a whole lot of panels to appear in front of her, and I love like her T's try to keep up. And also going back to the whole you do what you say. Calling back to how Yang isn't like Adam.
No deceptions here.
Yeah.
What you see is what you get.
Exactly. And Yang says that, she likes that Blake's never been intimidated by her. Even back when, they didn't really like each other all that much, when Yang said, yeah, this girl's a lost cause.
Yeah, literally never forget that they did start off their relationship actively disliking each other. That was the thing.
Yeah, well, it's because Blake's always just been wary of people. But Yang brings up that Blake never gives up on them, even after they hurt her. And she never gives up, and she knows what matters. And I mentioned calling back to Adam. Remember in their fight, even then, she was still trying to get him to, not do this.
Hey, credit where it's due. Despite everything, Blake kept giving him every opportunity under the sun to not have things go the way they did.
Yeah.
Nope, he was a crazy man.
And while this is going on, Yang's all like, okay, maybe we can speed this up. There are any truths that we haven't dropped? The clouds start brightening, Blake starts blushing. And Yang's all, oh no.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, no.
And that's when the bridge, pulls them both back. Blake deduces, did you think of something, but then just didn't say it? Yang is bright red in the face, oh, that can't be what this is about, can it?
It, very, very much is. For a bit, but she's finally realized.
Yeah, I love her face.
I'm scared.
I mean, it is a scary moment like this.
I know, but I am remiss, and, she goes from being kind of flustered, and then she just kind of shyly moves her eyes over to Blake, and then they widen, and she just sees this Blake face. This Blake face of unquestionable certainty on what this is, what's about to go down.
And then we
also,
I
guess they have telepathy now.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe it's just they're in a force, being broadcasted via the Ever After. I don't know. The Ever After is weird.
Or they're just conveniently interlinking to show some kind of compatibility. I don't know.
Yeah, but Yang says, it feels like it's a cliff, and if she, does this, she might fall. Which, yeah, admitting what she's about to admit, that is a terrifying moment.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, basically, Yang.
But anyway,
Yang seems to think that this isn't gonna go well for some reason. Strange, but hey, relatable.
Yeah, and Blake's like, yeah, I think we already are, and the way she says, just say it, Yang. It's a mixture of encouragement and reassurance.
Yeah, it's I'll know. Yeah, it's it's okay to say it. Nothing is gonna be weird about this.
And Yang says, I think I love you, and Blake doesn't even let her finish. She can't hold it in and just says, I love you too.
And I think that's the best way they could have done it, because we pondered who was gonna make the first move, who was really gonna be that initiating force. Turns out, both of them. Perfect.
Yeah. Oh man, and they're just both teleported to the platform. Grass, like, grows on it, vines wrap around it, all these flowers start blooming, and... Oh god, the freaking music! Like... Casey and Martin went so hard for this, like... Even just, like, the build-up to, like, the lyrics. I swear to god, it sounds like Casey cloned herself and used her clones to make a choir. Like, just the build up to that even, like, gets me a bit teary when I think about it. Because, like, you saw my reaction to what happens.
What happens, mate?
Now they've confessed, like, they hold nothing back. And the two finally kiss. Bumblebee is 100% canon, baby.
Took 10 years to get there. Was it worth the wait?
Man, I would say so, and... Okay, a few comedic things I want to point out.
Please do.
The flowers that bloom around them, which, okay, they could not have gotten away with this in Remnant.
Yeah, okay. The entire thing is like... It's like, this is a good place to have the confession, because then we don't even have to get, like, metaphorical with the analogies or the surroundings around them. We can just make it as obscenely Disney princess-esque romantic as we want in here.
Yeah. The flowers are white lilies, and someone pointed this out on Twitter, how, like, at weddings they used to symbolize, like, purity, a new chapter, rebirth, like, that sort of thing.
Dang.
They're also regarded as the sweetest flower, so they attract a lot of bees.
They did that on purpose.
They absolutely did, and I love that.
They could have chosen any flower in the world, but no, they chose that one. Clever, clever, clever.
So, when they like, you know, have their embrace and they're just like making out.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah, Yang has a hand on Blake's butt.
She sure does. She saw an opportunity and she took it.
Yeah. Oh my god, and just... Again, you saw my reaction, you saw how this got me, like, the first time I saw it.
I absolutely did.
In fact, I sent you that clip early of just like, yeah, this is what this did to me.
Yeah, no, just fun fact, I have actually now watched that particular moment of you reacting to this 6 times.
Jesus.
It's very, very fun to watch. I enjoy it a lot.
And it's just like wanting to see this happen for as long as I have, and just like finally seeing it on screen, like the build up to it of just like them complimenting each other and saying like what they think, and just like, again, the music, the lighting, and just like everything they did with this. It just,
yeah,
I think it might be one of the most beautiful scenes in the whole show.
I feel like that was 100% the goal. Like, I have absolutely no hesitation in my mind that every single tiny individual that had anything to do with this scene worked their ass off to make it the single most beautiful moment they possibly could.
And hey, it got
like,
me...
they clearly wanted this to be a top 3 moment in the franchise.
I say they succeeded. Like,
hard to argue.
Like, we're still not done with this volume, but I want to say this is probably like the best scene in the volume so far.
I don't know what else they could do for you personally that would top it. If I'm being honest.
I guess, and just like...
Got your most wanted ship ever, like...
And
started off giving you... They started off giving you crumbs, then they started throwing loaves of bread at your head, now they gave you the deed to a damn bakery. Alright, so... I'm happy, okay? You better be. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
and like I've cried at like so many forms of media. Like I cried at the ending of Persona 4, Avengers Endgame, I cried the first time I saw Spider-Man No Way Home. And there's like a whole bunch of other like films and shows that are good examples, but like I can't actually think of another one that got me to like cry like that through like pure just happiness.
No.
And like
honestly,
you saw me by the end. I was like full on sobbing by the end.
Here's the thing. Creating tears through sadness in media, while not an easy feat, is substantially easier than trying to get someone to cry tears of joy. That is a very difficult thing to accomplish.
I also don't know if you can actually hear it in my voice, but there are tears in my eyes right now.
I could tell. This moment means the world to you, and I am incredibly happy about that.
Yeah, and I after this moment happened, okay, first of all, can I just get out of the way just a gripe I have with the episode?
Sure.
It's just the title.
It kind of gives it away. And that's,
yeah.
I was gonna say the name of the title when I was giving a mock outro there, but then I realized that kind of undermines the joke a little bit. Confessions within cumulonimbus clouds. Gee, I wonder what confession could possibly take place.
Yeah, I probably would have called it Crossroads. Within...
That would have been a little bit better. Or Punderstorm, or The Truth, or any number of things. They might as well have just called it the episode where bees happen. They were so subtle with this one.
Yeah. And I do have some behind-the-scenes stuff, like from the RWBY Roundtable and from the Always Open with Aaron and Barbara.
Which was just them talking about this.
You know what, should we wrap up like the rest of the scenes before we,
before we get to supplementary material? Okay, so you remember when the whole scene kind of transitions back, the cat leaves and the things shatter and they come back? Well, okay, so basically, Weiss, RWBY, and Jaune, they pop back out and they all kind of slowly turn around and they look, and apparently Blake and Yang have just been making out this entire damn time and they didn't even notice.
Okay, I love when RWBY turns around, like, the other's already looking. She turns and this gasp squeak that she has.
I don't think any of us saw that coming.
It's so freaking cute.
It's very adorable. Even when RWBY is clutched in the grips of pure depression, that girl's still mad cute.
God, and just like, okay, they went into a whole bunch of details with just like, okay, this moment and also the previous moment. I should have brought this up.
Yeah, it's okay.
The moment when they first kiss, if you look really closely at their faces, like, Blake's smile like grows so much wider, and Yang's eyes are like darting back and forth between Blake's and her lips. Is just like, okay, he absolutely like this is cool, right? This is what you want, right? And Blake's just like,
last chance to back out. I can't take this back.
She's like, girl, you already said you love me. Bring it in.
Okay, so this is gonna sound more crass than it actually is.
The detail on like this moment.
A little, but I know it's just the fact that they're portraying Yang as basically sexually unconfident kind of flies against the entire preconceived notion that everybody had with Yang for like the entire franchise.
Kind of, now you say it.
It's like everyone always thought that she would be super duper confident and about like, well, Blake I'm sure is still very nervous about that. Yang is very clearly like shaking at the knees about every aspect about this. She is so not prepared in any shape, way, or form, and it is adorable.
It really is. And it's just like, the detail on this makeout is just like Yang tilting her head as they go in, like, Blake has a leg popped up.
Yep. They went all in, man. All in.
And I also want to just point out, when Little gasps, which is what gets them to stop, Blake's... Okay, first of all, they have a sound effect, so...
Yeah, there's a sound effect implying they were really going at it.
Yeah.
At least for a solid 5 minutes.
Yeah, Blake like looks at everyone and is just like, "Oh, we're back." Hey.
Embarrassed. No, who wasn't embarrassed?
Yang, she's just like, "Hey guys, I'm just making out with my girlfriend. What'd I miss?"
Like, Yang specifically says, did we miss anything? And I also desperately wanted Weiss or somebody to also just say, did we? What happened?
That would have been perfect if Weiss had said that.
Yeah. Although, what we do get is still pretty solid, with Jaune saying that he feels like he's been waiting forever for that.
Jaune speaks for the audience there.
He has a special ability to speak for the audience because he actually has been waiting a very long time for that. Whereas all of the other characters, I want to say it 2 years tops. 2, maybe 3, if you really want to stretch it.
Yeah. Like, it hasn't been 10 years for them.
Yeah.
Oh. You know what? Okay, we've joked about, like, Blake and Yang's, like, hypothetical wedding at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first of all, I personally believe that Weiss will be Blake's maid of honor, while RWBY will be Yang's.
Oh yeah! It's made Weiss. Get that dress.
I want Weiss, like, when everyone starts making speeches, I want Weiss to just, like, make so many jokes and even say it feels like they took 10 years to get together.
Absolutely. No, Weiss needs to go full comedian on this one. He has been training years with her joke books, and she just absolutely freaking kills the audience.
To get back at Yang for the whole, like, there's a time and a place for jokes.
Oh, she could even start it that way if you really wanted to be awesome. It's like, you once told me there was a time and place for jokes. How's that time? That would be amazing. I want that in my life.
Yeah, and you mentioned Weiss has a really adorable teacup at Jaune's hut. Well, behind her, Yang grabs Blake's hand and, oh my god, Blake's even blushing. It's so super hard details like this. It's cute.
It's hard because it's so dark and she's being lit up by a stove, so you can't. It's hard to tell, but yeah, no, she's blushing.
Yeah, and
they're gonna be riding that high for a while.
And Weiss is just like looking back at him. It's just like, they're finally together. I'm happy for him.
Even RWBY is momentarily pretty happy to see them holding hands before she kind of slides back into a depression. But, you know, for a brief moment, she was able to feel something positive.
Yeah, and I will also just throw this out. People have, like, brought this up as well. It's just like, with everything that RWBY is going through, like, she is happy, but it's also hard to be happy for him. If that makes sense.
Not to put too much of a damper on things, but just it's important for me to say this because it relates so importantly. I feel like one of the reasons why Blake and Yang, I mean, there were a variety of reasons for why this scene happened in this volume, in this episode, but it's important that it was done because now, in the broadest sense of the term, Blake, Yang, and Weiss, their arcs as characters are essentially complete. They've become the best version. They've become the best versions of themselves. Hang on, just give me a second. And it's important to get this aspect out of the way, because RWBY is about to snap like a Twix bar, and Blake and/or Yang, probably Blake, but let's be real here, it's gonna have to step up and be team leader.
Which Blake has been doing, and yeah.
Right, but now she can focus on that fully. There's not that lingering plot thread hanging around her in this volume anymore. No, okay, she approached it. She's with Yang now. That's good. She's got a good support system. Life is good for her on that front. She is emotionally capable of being able to be there for the rest of the team while they try to help RWBY.
Yeah, and like by the end of the volume, I want a scene where, like, you know, when RWBY is, like, you know, better and whatnot, I would appreciate if, like, there is a scene where she, like, does, like, say to Blake and Yang, hey, like, I know I said some stuff, and they're even just like, look, Ruby, it's cool, don't worry. But she just wants to say she's super happy for both of them, and, I don't know, maybe have, like, a group embrace.
Maybe this won't happen. I still feel like it probably will, but when Ruby does snap, she has the potential to get on everybody's case for how everything has been going on. She has a lot to yell at. She has a lot to yell at with Jaune. She could get very upset with Weiss, complaining the entire time about the Ever After, keeping that little tidbit away from her, even though Weiss obviously did that for trying to find the right time. There was never a right time to tell you, clearly, considering the blow-up, but the point is, she has stuff to yell at about with Weiss. She could get mad at Blake and Yang for basically treating this as a romantic honeymoon when she's falling to pieces and there's so much going on. Obviously, she could make up for whatever she could potentially end up saying, but it's almost like it's kind of being set up for this.
Yeah.
In fact, I feel like another one of the reasons why they were so sure to make Bumbleby in its full canon moment so triumphantly beautiful is because, all right, audience, here's your really, really happy bright spot of the season. We're gonna get dark now.
That tracks, honestly.
Oh.
Though, I do have some things to bring up that will, get back to a more, like, happy tone.
Please, yeah. No, I had to get the dark out. Let's go back to the happy.
Yeah. Okay, so, the kiss curse is broken.
Finally.
Because
at the very least,
Blake and Yang kissed, no one died.
At least yet. At the very least, it's taking longer.
The curse was the same episode.
In that instance, 100% correct. Nobody died the same episode a kiss happened. Why was that a curse? Why was that so consistent? Anyway.
I don't know. But, yeah, I brought this up with you, like, off camera, because someone found an old tweet from Monty, and it was it's something he genuinely believed in, which is that all good romances are earned. I believe he posted that, like, partway in through Volume 2, specifically after Burning the Candle came out, and on the AfterBuzz show, when asked about LGBT characters, he said, what he said, absolutely, maybe they're in now, but we don't want to just throw it in there for the sake of it, it has to be earned. You watch a lot of romantic comedy anime.
Very much do.
Yep. And you have gotten invested in, like, romances with some characters.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay, neither of us are, like, experts on this. Just want to throw that out there. I just want to ask, in your opinion, would you say Blake and Yang have earned it?
Blake and Yang have earned their relationship more than the greater majority of other relationships I've seen in fiction. There are comparable ones in some instances, but by and large, RWBY is in a unique circumstance where it's been able to last long enough to burn the candle slower than most shows are given the ability to do. Most shows don't have the luxury of knowing how long they're going to go for, so they usually end up having to pull the trigger either at some arbitrary point in the middle, or they'll be told the show is ending and they'll do their best to make it work with what time they have left to finally introduce it. So RWBY had that advantage going for it.
Yeah, plus there's also, like, studio meddling, like Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network
absolutely.
Not allowing that sort of thing until the final episode.
Absolutely. There's always executive meddling, so they've been given a lot of of opportunities a lot of other media doesn't get.
Yeah.
However, just ignoring that aspect entirely, ignoring the meta aspect of it. The two of them did pretty much everything you could do to build the foundation for a almost perfect relationship. They didn't start out liking each other. They slowly grew to care about each other.
And then there was like the, little conflict they had, like Blake leaving, and Yang already has abandonment issues, so like she was pissed. But
basically, that's exactly the point. Exactly. So they slowly learn to like each other, but oh no, now we've got some problems. They're both literally hammering each other's trauma buttons right now. At the same time, they are whether they meant to intentionally, accidentally, does not matter. The point is, both of them did perhaps the worst thing that you could do to the other in that exact instance.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say Yang did, it was more Adam.
Yes, but okay, well then the world conspired to push these buttons.
Yeah.
Essentially. And there was the potential for that to be the end of it, Dunzo Supremo. Then the world is able to sort of work around it. With the help of her friends, they're able to sort of smooth over some of the edges, like, hey, give it up to basically to Sun and Weiss, basically. It's like, hey, no, I know you think you know, but what your future girlfriend here, they didn't say that, but I feel like part of them knew. It was like, I think you know what they know, but here's what is the actual facts. They're going through stuff. They've got regrets. They've got their own problems. Doesn't mean you should give up on it. And they're able to forgive. Things are a little awkward. They're able to slowly build themselves back up to where they need to be. Yeah. Stronger than ever.
Yeah.
And then they're able to finally put that together. Boom. Now that basically their relationship is like tempered steel. It's gonna take more than the world is capable of to break them at this point.
Oh yeah, definitely. And again, thinking back to like how things like started, I just want to call out. You remember when Blake said like life isn't like a fairy tale? Says the girl who gets the most fairy tale first kiss ever.
100. Life isn't like a fairy tale, but the second that girl fell into one, it sure became one. There.
And
a very how it started, how it's going now type situation.
Yeah, and speaking of how it started, I'm going into some behind the scenes stuff because it's been brought up by like Aaron and Barb on like Always Open, the RWBY Roundtable, and even their own social medias.
These two have basically desperately attempted to kind of sort of hide the fact that this was going to happen.
Yeah, they've confirmed that they knew since before the show started airing. Like, they said they've been like keeping this in for 10 years. I would say both have been doing a pretty bad job of that, honestly.
Now that it's finally happened, we can safely say that they are absolutely horrible at keeping secrets.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron points out on Always Open, there's this one clip where they were doing this, like, table read, like, live stream thing. She didn't realize they were live at the time. But at the very start, she just asks, hey, so can I say that my character and another character are lesbian lovers? And Miles just goes, absolutely not.
And then they had to play it off like, haha, we knew we were live. That was a joke. It wasn't a joke.
Yeah.
They tried. Now, admittedly, I'm not going to get into it because it doesn't have a place in here right now. Admittedly, I do have a theory about a certain someone.
Oh yeah, we've talked about that theory, and this kind of, like, adds to it a little bit.
It does. I'll just say I'm pretty sure Rooster Teeth had a backup plan in place if for some reason the audience just never cared for Bumblebee. Luckily, everybody did, and they were able to go with their intended plan. But they had a fail-safe, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say for now.
Yeah.
Anything else that
I mentioned like I want to see like behind the scenes stuff. Barb said in the roundtable that she was like weeping when having to record that moment. Like, as horrible as it is to say, I want to see that.
You want to see the emotion.
Yeah. I mean...
Need it in your soul. Inject it into your veins.
Yeah, and like... she also mentioned on Always Open with Aaron, it's kind of like the biggest moment so far for both characters. So, it's either this moment or the...
And keep in mind, they murdered a man together.
Yeah.
I just love saying it that way. Yeah, no, it's hard to argue that.
Yeah, so it's either this moment or the confronting her past self that Barb was like, I don't know if I'll ever have done this right.
Yeah, it could have been both.
Yeah, it totally could have been. Maybe
probably had a lot of doubts. They probably have who knows? They probably had a lot of doubts about how they performed a lot of the things in this volume.
Yeah,
like it's a big honking deal. Don't want to mess it up.
Yeah, and they do mention like I think Barb was even like surprised at how like Blake took charge of like that scene, because she doesn't even let Yang finish the sentence. She's just like, "Look, we both love each other. Let's go."
Yeah, let's go. Let's freaking go. No more waiting. I don't know which one of the two realized that they were in love first, but that sure makes it seem like it was Blake. I've been waiting longer than you. Let's go.
Oh, what else was I gonna? I have like a lot of thoughts.
I bet you do. Go on. I'd have been disappointed if you weren't.
Yeah, so they both think that the scene basically came out like as perfect as it possibly could have.
And from everything that I've seen on social media, unless you are just an outright homophobe, pretty much everybody is saying, "Oh my God, that was the most beautiful thing I ever did see." Essentially.
Yeah, I mean,
I've also very rarely seen a moment in a show drown out the haters, but it did.
Oh, definitely, and I will comment on like that aspect. Just like, I'll just say, I understand a personal OTP not happening and being like annoyed about that.
It's a bummer.
Yeah, it is. But
I feel like everybody's had that happen at least once.
Yeah, but I respect the hell out of those who were just like, you know what, I wanted something else, but I can't deny that scene was really pretty, and I'm at least happy for the people that wanted that.
To be fair, I have seen some people say this.
Yeah, someone replied to that to me. So
that's been good.
Yeah.
It shows emotional maturity.
Yeah.
I didn't get what I want, but damn, a lot of people sure are happy, and I just have to respect that. Not me, I'm just, proverbially.
Yeah.
I've always been of the mind of, I want whatever makes the most people happy, and it's clear that this was definitely the way to go for that one.
Yeah. And
one of my closest friends wants this more than just about damn near anything in the world. I'm gonna put my chips on that one for his sake, bare minimum.
Yeah, and also I didn't bring this up in May Watches, but I did bring it up in Robustcast, so I'm gonna bring it up now. Do you remember my patent theory?
Mate. Just might.
So for Ren and Nora, Volume 2, they got a song in the soundtrack. 2 volumes later, Volume 4, they fought something that caused them shared trauma and defeated it, had an intimate handhold. 3 volumes later, Volume 7, Kiss. Now for Blake and Yang, Volume 4, song in the soundtrack. Volume 2, for someone that caused them shared trauma, defeated them, and had an intimate handhold.
Ed.
3 volumes later, Volume 9, they not only kissed, but also confessed. So, shout out to me partway through Volume 7 because I called that.
Really did.
I feel so good about that.
You should. You very much should. I don't know if it was deliberate on their part to make it that succinct and rhymey, but that's what happens.
Oh god, yeah, and it's just like...
Great.
I think, yeah, Bob and Aaron will also ask, like, just, you know, has their friendship kind of, like, affected their performance in that way, and...
It's an interesting dynamic to essentially have to do a romance scene with what is essentially your best friend.
Yeah, I've wondered about that.
Like, how does that go about?
Yeah, but they have said they don't think about each other, they think about the character. So, like,
Professionals.
Erin said, like, look, when she's, like, recording as Blake, she just thinks that she's talking to Yang, not Barbara. Although, Bob did think about Erin during the scene, but only as, like, we both wanted this. How's Erin actually, like, doing like, this?
Tragically, for whatever reason we don't know, they couldn't actually do the scene together in the VA booth at the same time. So that's a bummer, but you know, these things happen.
I wonder if, like, because of how emotional that was, maybe, like, if one of them starts crying, the other's gonna start crying.
Honestly, considering the fact that it seems like both of them did, that might have been a case. And, like, girls, we really need to get this scene done.
Yeah, that's probably why they didn't do it.
It's possible. I've seen reasons like that before. Absolutely crazy. Oh, by the way, I want to bring one thing up. They also talked about what Blake and Yang's basically gestures of affection basically are.
Oh, they're a love language.
Their love language, and
yeah,
it's basically it's basically the opposite of like basically prefer. You go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah, Blake's is words of affirmation and physical touch, which you can't say that's not been demonstrated this volume. Like tackle hugging Yang and like grazing her hand in the second episode.
You know, the things that she literally never got with Adam.
Meanwhile, Yang's is acts of service, like, you know, gifts and whatnot, and quality time.
No, the thing she never got with Raven.
Yeah, so...
They give what they were never able to have. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I really like that. You know? There is one aspect I feel bad for, and that's my wallet. Because, yeah, they announced they're gonna do some Bumblebee merch, like, official Bumblebee merch.
At long last.
Yeah, and, like, yeah, there's the shirt that, like, has, like, the sketches of the two of them on it. But, like, I don't know, they did, like, Ruby and Weiss, so Blake and Yang, like, yeah. But this is, like, it even says Bumblebee on it.
They're riding a bee.
And there's also going to be, like,
photo...
a bee necklace that's half black, half gold.
Creepy photorealistic bee, but a bee.
And you know what? You joked about this off camera. It's just like, you think they could borrow Weiss's Queen Lancer?
Yeah, I was like, I know it's not the same thing, but you mind if we just ride around on it for a little while? It's, like, symbolic, you know? Weiss would be confused, but okay.
She'd just be like, ugh, fine.
No, I have, like, prettier things to ride. No. It's got to be this.
I mean, one of them is a bird, so...
I know, I'm just saying, she has less creepy-looking options. It's like, no, this is important. It's got to be the Lancer.
Yeah, true.
It happened, man. It happened.
Yeah, and from this point on, Blake and Yang are a couple.
And I don't see anything changing that.
That sure as hell better not be. Like, alright, when last volume when they did the Headbutt of Love and you were just like, you don't do that if you're not having your characters go that way.
Yeah.
This confession and this kiss, you don't make it that beautiful if you're just gonna have them break up later.
No.
Like, no, you just don't do that.
So, like, just straight up, after they did everything that they did, all this effort into this scene, invested so much of their time, effort, and power into doing so, making all of this merch, making all of this supplementary material about them talking about how wonderful it is and how long they've been waiting. Like, straight up, if they just did, like, the next volume was like, never mind. Well, damn. Company's gonna go down in flames after that.
Oh yeah, no, I predict
me?
literal riots.
No way in hell are they that stupid. No.
And I'll be front of the line.
Yeah.
Not literally, but like, yeah.
No.
Oh, so a couple other things from the round table. So like, everyone on RWBY wanted in on this. And because they have like so many directors and writers, they kind of like treat each episode as its own individual story. And I think like, yeah, we've seen that as a thing in this volume. And, like, all the writers and directors, like, wanted to be on this moment.
I want to talk Poe.
And it was even to a point when Carrie was like, okay, so I'm giving this episode to Yisa, but not this moment. I'm directing this.
Fair. That's totally fair. Everyone wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's just like, people in the round table just, like, talking about how, like, even, like, so, like, after working on it for so long, they still cry.
Makes sense. It's a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be one of the biggest moments of the entire series.
And
success.
And look, it's a thing that made me cry of happiness on camera.
Sure did.
Yeah, and
a couple times, in fact.
Yeah. And something I realized not long afterwards, like, last night I realized this. Because this volume was pushed back a couple years.
Sure was.
No, that scene was written in 2020.
Was.
That's how long they've been sitting on this. At least of, like, the moments written.
Yeah.
Also, side note, whenever Erin, like, would ask, like, over time, she would just ask the writers, like, every season was just like, okay, is that happening? And they'd be like, no, we're doing a slow burn. She's like, it was just cute. I'm just like, oh, man, Erin wants it so badly.
Yeah.
But I'd say it was worth the wait.
Well, both Erin and Barbara clearly wanted this and just wanted it to dang happen already. Clearly, Erin was even more like, just do it!
So much to a point the Ever After itself was like that.
Yeah, the whole world was all... The entire world they were currently residing in was all like, alright, we're tired of the teasing, just do it, damn it. Either confess your undying love to each other or we're dropping you into a death pit.
Yeah, the thing I was gonna bring up before the sidetracking is just like, if the volume wasn't pushed back, and like, you know, pandemic didn't happen, everything like works out as like it was originally planned, this would have happened the same year Blake versus Mikasa happened.
Blake sweep.
Yeah.
Era of Blake. Plus, it would have put that whole sidebar information of putting Yang under her likes into a whole new light.
You know, funny enough, DJ Tiki, Blake's researcher, when I was aware after the episode, he just posted that clip and just the text, finally.
There you go. Whether or not that meant that they knew in advance, I don't know. But what? It's either they did or it was a hilarious coincidence.
You know what? I'm going to RTX this year. If he's there again, I'm just gonna be like, Tiki, did you know?
In advance? Is that why you put that there? Were you just cheeky? Were you cheeky, Tiki? Explain.
Yeah, but I also kind of doubt like that RWBY like told them like, oh yeah, they're kissing next season.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, and it's just like, is it weird that it feels like too good to be true, in a way?
I can understand that. I mean, it's something you've wanted for so long, and it got done so triumphantly and so beautifully that it's just like, whoa, did that even happen? I've wanted something for so long, and I finally actually got it, and now my brain doesn't even know what life is like. Like, what? Who am I now that I have what I've always wanted?
And you know what? This happened the same year I finally released a fan fiction I wrote.
I'm not saying you manifested some positive bee vibes into the universe, but I'm not saying it. Am I saying that your only mate is responsible for everything that's happened? Perhaps. It was a good episode.
Hell yeah, it was.
Anything else you can think to say?
I'm kind of running out of like things to just think about. Okay, how much longer can we talk about this?
Hey man, look, if anybody thought that this episode wasn't going to be jumbo large, hey, that's their fault.
You know what, true.
We're here to talk. We're here to come together and talk about a show we love for as long as we damn well so choose. And if people want to watch, they can watch. If they don't, that's their choice too.
Yeah.
That ain't gonna stop us one way or the other. So if you wanted to talk about Bumbleby for, I'm not even joking, 51 minutes, that's okay.
I do have one more thing. Okay, this is just kind of a joke because as a friend of mine who wasn't able to watch Volume 9, but is immediately going to pick up the Justice League crossover movie. And we know the timeline is a bit jumbled in that, like,
yeah.
they're clearly a beacon,
yeah,
Yang has a robo arm anyway, and it's the upgraded version.
Yeah, it's the upgraded robot arm too, so it's like, what?
Yeah, so...
like, non-canon as hell.
Because this comes out immediately after Volume 9, what if Blake and Yang are just a couple in the movie?
That would be honestly, objectively hilarious.
And I'm just picturing reactions of like people who aren't able to watch Volume 9 yet, and they just watch the movie. Blake and Yang reunite, and it's just like, hey Blake, hey honey, and then just like a peck on the lips, and they're just like, what? Well, something, I don't know.
That would be hilarious because then they'd be all like, did they just casually just do that? Like, no.
In the most casual way possible.
Next time, keep up with the actual show proper, you nerds. Oh.
I would laugh so hard.
Would be the time to do it. But we shall see. We shall see.
Honestly, possibly even to a point I might have to pause the movie.
Alright, just gonna laugh for about 20 minutes.
You know what? All the better it's not in theaters.
Absolutely. Then you just be laughing over the plot.
And then people that complain to the stuff, it's just like, yeah, this guy won't stop laughing.
Why is this man so British? Oh wait, everyone is British here. Well, he's extra British, whatever. I'm pretty dang content. I think this went well.
Yeah, same.
Right then. Enjoy all of that good times, because man, I can't promise you any more good times going on in the volume after this.
Yeah,
We'll see.
Blake and Yang are an official couple.
You are. Just asking that glory for as long as you can.
Yeah.
Right then. We'll see y'all next time for whatever happens next, I suppose.
Bye.
Ah, but for real though, they were really going at it.